Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is February 22nd, 2024, about 10 o'clock exactly. Lee, how you doing this week?
I'm doing all right, bud. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited. Pirate baseball's around the corner.
Yep.
We maybe you can tell by the way that we've focused on the Steelers, but I would say that the Pirates are my number one team. Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. You are not as into the Buccos, I don't think, but now that the spring training's coming, I think I'm going to force you to talk Pirates. Sorry, Lee, that's just what you're going to do.
No, that's fine.
Um,
I think I'm invested now. I'm ready.
Speaking of your investment, I think a lot of it has to do with this article that came out by the Athletic, written by Stephen J. Nesbitt and Ken
Mm-hmm.
Rosenthal. Rosenthal is
Mm-hmm.
one of the big national guys. He's been around forever, and Nesbitt has been working for the Athletic. But before that, he actually was working in Pittsburgh. He was on the Pirate beat for a little bit. But they came out with an article, and I had you go and read it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I'll let you get the first word on this.
Yeah. I'm kind of. I think the whole organization, the people that at work there, the owner, the general managers, all of them, they need to go. They all need to go. I think they all need
Uh-huh.
to be fired. Get somebody else to buy the team because after reading that article, I about lost it. I'm invested in this team now because you read some articles on some stuff and you think like, okay, maybe some of this is just hearsay, somebody's complaining about something. Then you start reading some of the facts about some of this stuff, and then you're like,
Yeah.
this is like really strange that the people that are saying this stuff and then the facts are true. And then you get the people that are actually the names that are dropped, you get their word on it, and it's like, oh my goodness, like wow,
Yeah.
like this is really going on. Like I feel bad for the Pirates. Like here I am thinking that maybe they were just a team that wasn't that good, but I think it's all about the back office people. I think they're the reason why the team isn't that good. I want to start with a couple things I wrote down from this article. I just want to
Yeah,
say
yeah, go for it.
real quick. First thing, Nutting, he needs to go. I think you need to bring somebody else in to own the team. He just seems like a cheapskate to me. The fact that they started the article with the facility in Bradenton, Florida, how it's like still
Yeah.
like from 1923. I'm thinking to myself, why?
Here's that exactly what you're talking about here is the former GM Neil Huntington had asked for additional funds from ownership to construct a performance center in Bradenton spring training facility, and instead of just allocating funds from somewhere else, they decided to take those funds from the major league payroll for that season.
Yeah, and I think that that's so cheap of the owner to do that. When you're not paying into or investing into your team, nothing's going to happen. Um, it seems like Charrington. I don't know. Maybe he may have to go too, only because from reading that article, it seems like it's a little bit of a split decision between some of the players. Seems like half of them like him, half of them don't. Maybe he needs to get his shit together a little bit and get things moving a little bit better with how he is as a general manager. Correct? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, he's the GM. Yep.
Yeah, so I think he needs to kind of step up a little bit because it just doesn't seem like he has any bit of the sway on the votes on he should stay or he should go. I think he just needs to do a bit better there. Um, One thing that I did see a lot, it seemed that a lot of the players seemed to like Nunley, the batting coach that's with
Uh huh.
the
Altoona
um,
Double A.
Altoona Double A, yeah, and maybe bring him back. I mean, if some of the players like him, I don't see why you can't bring him back. I understand maybe some of the people in the back office don't like him, but it seems like some of the players like him, and they're going to continue to go to him outside of the team thing, which they're allowed to do. But I think maybe they should look at bringing him in.
Yeah, so here's something on that just to fill everyone in, just in case they haven't known. But Brian Hayes, third baseman, he just signed a large extension 2 years ago. He was struggling to start the 2023 season. He ended up going on the injured list, and while he was on the injured
Mhm.
list, he decided to start meeting with John Nunnally, who is a hitting coach in the Double A Altoona. But apparently, these meetings were secret, and they were successful though. And Hayes,
Yeah.
the last couple of months of the season was amazing in the field. And like if you would have stretched out those numbers through a whole season, you're looking at a guy because of how great of a defender he is too. He's probably an MVP.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Instead of praising not only and giving him maybe a promotion for the success,
Yeah.
work that he's been meeting secretly, not only was let go once the AA season was ended prior to the end of the MLB season. You think, hey, maybe the season's over, let's bring him up and see what he can do with other guys. But no, it was, I guess it's just simply like a power move where you don't want someone in your organization hiding, meeting with players. I guess there is some kind of there's some logic to that, but whenever you see success for a guy who you need to rely on, he's got a large deal. I want to say it's like $80 million over 8 years. Off the top. I should have known that off my head, but either way, it's a long-term agreement that he has with the team. He's asking for help. He's looking to find any way to get better. He finds that way to get better, and you punish the guy who's doing it. Fortunately, though, and that is Hayes is going to be working with not only on the side, they're letting him do that, but it's not going to be within the Pirates organization. But yeah, that's another one that you're hitting on right on there. You got anything else, or do you want me to jump?
Oh yeah, I got a couple more things.
Okay.
Seems like there's no discipline in the organization. It seems to kind of revert back to the Steeler thing, where some of these players, I guess, are just doing what they want, where the organization's like, oh, you can't do some of these things, but you can do whatever you kind of want with some of this stuff. And then there were some repercussions with some of the players with, doing some things out in the field where they shouldn't have been doing. And it's like, where the guy's rounding base and he's eating sunflower seeds. It's like, okay, what are you doing? I mean, somebody's got to step up and say something. It seems to be, it seems like maybe it's coming from the top. A lot of the stuff, is a reflection of leadership. And if the leadership is not where it needs to be, the players are not going to, be like, okay, well, if they're lackadaisical, then I could be real relaxed with things too, and not do whatever, not do what they're doing. So maybe there needs to be a little more discipline.
The going on that, on that thing, in the article they talk about bringing McCutchen back last year and having a couple other guys like Carlos Santana in the clubhouse. I think that did change some last year because they had they've been having their issues, and there was no leadership on the team. There were no veterans to show these guys how to be professionals. But last year they had them. This year they have a few of them too. So hopefully that's something that starts to go away for sure. But
hopefully, I think that the organization and Nutting, whoever, needs to be spending more money on some of these players and for free agents, because it's like you're not paying them enough. I understand that, some of these guys are on rookie contracts or whatever they're on, and they give them whatever deal that is when they bring them in. But if you're going to bring in a decent player, I mean, give them decent pay. Don't just not, pay the guy and then wonder why the guy wants to be off the team, and then you don't have any decent players on your team. Maybe pay some of these players. Let's not be cheap. Some of these contracts just don't seem to be fitting right.
Today, the timing, a lot of people talk about Mitch Keller did sign an extension today. The day after this article comes out, some people are laughing at the timing of it. Other people are trying to explain that, oh, well, I mean, these deals like these don't come together in one day. So this was something that was in the works for a while. But I do think it got done a little quicker than maybe it would have if they didn't get exposed the day before. But this is 3 straight years now that they have extended some of their young guys. So that might be a trend that is changing, but the free agency is not changing. The free agency issue, they explained there's only been one multi-year contract that was 2 years, $17 million for any external free agent. So that means not re-signing a guy that was already in the organization prior to that. So the next closest team is $30 million. So that's $13 million more than the Pirates.
I mean, the owner, he's worth $1.1 billion. Why don't you go out and get some of these big name players to add to the team? I mean, look at what a lot of these, I understand they may not have the money that some of these organizations do, but bring some people in. How about you see what the Dodgers do and the Yankees do, and and some of these other teams, bring some people in.
Yeah, so that goes back to when they had their success from 2013 to 2015. The next year, 2016, they did have a $99 million payroll, which was the highest that they had during the stretch, probably highest ever. I shouldn't even say that. But shortly after, they just kept cutting, and it got all the way down to 45 million in 2001. And here's a great quote from one of the former players that kind of explains what the reasons why Nutting's okay doing this. He doesn't care about. It's just he pulled out so quick. A former player said he was kind of comfortable stepping back and being mediocre. That permeates. That's what this organization is. So that's really what it is. That's the title of the article too. Why the Pirates keep losing, comfortable being mediocre, and that's what it is with Nutting. He has no care to win a championship.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. He'll be great. He'll be happy, and he'll come out and explain how great everyone is and how they always knew and all that stuff. But if it costs money that he doesn't want to spend, guess what? He's just not going to spend it, and he'll be comfortable with the mediocrity. And before you go on a little bit, let me take some of your points. Going back to Cherington, it seems like he's now 5 years in. This is there is a lot of parallels between the Pirates right now this year and the Pirates of like 2012, right before they had gone on their stretch of winning, where people were starting to get backlash on the GM at that time was Huntington, and he ended up having the success they had with the 3 playoff seasons in a row. Cherington needs something like that to happen within this year.
Yeah.
And if not this year, I think he's probably gone. But I mean, if he gets close enough, I guess he gets another year on that. But going back to like just the disorganization and the it seems there's a if you're talking about on a pendulum, before Cherington came in, everything was very strict. And then the pendulum did a full swing to the other side, where there seems to be a lot more individualism and a lot more looseness. That maybe that is causing some kind of problem within the organization, especially for the guys that were there with the previous regime. And then the other issue is when you're not going to be able to spend, you got to try things that are outside the box. And sometimes when those things that are outside of the box don't work, you look like a fool. They talked about this guy who's like a motion specialist. He's like a mid-30s guy who he took on 3 players to work on their swings during the offseason the 1 year. Yeah. This is here we go here. Before the 2021 season, the team had a secret hitting school for 3 young players who had struggled at AAA that was led by a movement coach. Your hitting school was being taught by a movement coach that does not have any background in actual hitting. So he's teaching them to be loose and all this other stuff. But as the article points out, that's not going to make you a better hitter if you're not working on your actual hitting skills. So guess what happens though? If that would have worked and those players had better seasons, or even if it didn't work, but those players just happen to have better seasons, guess what? They're writing books about how genius Cherington is for bringing in a movement coach. But that's how it works. When you're not spending, you're going to do things that you think might work or might not work, and it's just there's such a black cloud that nothing puts over everything, and it creates this scenario like this where you try things that are on the outside looking in. It just there's no way that was going to work, but they thought, hey, maybe this will help and let's do something new. Right now, their pitching coach is another guy where his name's Oscar Marine. He's another guy where it's a lot about changing like your motion, and he's all into this stuff like that. And if it works, great. But guess what's happened? The last season, 3 separate players had a dip in their velocity that they got. Roansy Contreras is the biggest one. He was a guy who could touch 100. He was sitting 96. As the season went on, he's throwing fastballs at 91 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. It just, his season was a complete loss. Hopefully he comes back this year and does something. But at this point, you can't look to him for the future. And he was a guy coming into last season that people were expecting to be a key piece for the next 5 years or so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was definitely something I was just about to hit on too. The batting movement coach. I mean,
Yeah.
what is that? What is that? I mean, come on. I mean, if you're gonna be a batting coach, be a batting coach. What's the movement? What is that? If they have trouble with their swing, you're supposed to be helping them swing so they can make connection to hit the ball. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's why they get paid the big bucks, and I don't. I don't.
But the biggest issue is it's cool to have a movement coach, but have the hitting coach there, have an actual hitting instructor there with them.
Exactly.
To work together to create like whatever you're trying to create instead of having just this guy on his own. I think it was Cole Tucker who had asked once again to have Nunnally come in, and without him, he said he wasn't gonna show up. But yeah, you have anything else?
I got another. There's another big one here. How about keep players long enough? So they can become great players. One of the big names I could think of is Garrett Cole. Look at now where he is. His career is now with the Yankees. I mean, you get this great of a player, and you don't even keep him long enough to become a great player, and you automatically got to trade him out the door. I think I read in the article somewhere where I think it said Nutting was saying, we had to get some of these people out of the door really quick. And and get some other stuff, but you're not even bringing in better players. You're just bringing in other lower draft picks or things like that. That's what are you doing?
Yeah, specifically with Cole, they talk about how there seemed to be an urgency 2 years prior to him becoming a free agent. The fact is, the Pirates were not going to re-sign him. The Houston Astros were who the Pirates traded him to, and he played well for 2 seasons, but even them, the Astros are a well-run organization. They couldn't afford the money that the Yankees gave them. So I get, you're going to have to trade them. But like in the article there, I think it was quoting a former staff member. He was like confused why it had to be 2 years before his free agency. They still could have traded him in the coming years. Within those 2 years, and they would have got pretty much the same thing they got back in that trade. The key piece they got back was Joe Musgrove, who they have then traded on since then, and he's a pretty good pitcher with the Padres. But the rest of that trade has pretty much fallen through. So like it's weird what happened there for sure. I don't know if it was just someone trying to save their job or it really does not make sense what happened with Cole for sure.
Yeah. And last thing I'll just say, and I hit it at the beginning, I just really think they need to bring in some fresh faces. As we talked about with the Steelers, finally they're going outside of the organization to get bring some other people in. I think maybe the Pirates need to do that. I don't know if they're keeping the same people and giving them promotions to higher levels, but maybe look at what some of the other teams are doing and bring in some fresh faces to kind of help with some of the younger players that they have on the team. And bring in, hopefully they can continue with bringing in more veterans to the team to help with a lot of that stuff. But I after reading that article, I'm so disappointed in Nutting, and I'm just disappointed in some of the people with the organization. I mean, no wonder, you got people that are big fans like yourself that are so disappointed in this team. And now I'm disappointed. I didn't even watch the Pirates so much, but now I'm like going to be invested to kind of see what's really going on, because this is kind of ridiculous.
So we talked about the facility, a performance center down there. Here was the one that really struck me about Nutting's cheapness. This is a quote from a former staff member. I've been in some meetings where my jaw dropped because we had to wait a day to trade a guy because it was going to save us $30,000.
Oh yeah,
$30,000. We're doing to save. It's comical. It's not real life. It's insane to think that someone is making a trade delayed a day just to save $30,000. I mean,
he's a cheapskate. He's a cheapskate.
And
it is.
I hope you do get some investment into this team, because there are some good players on this roster, and I think the season is going to be entertaining. The actual, I'm not going to focus on Nutting much if we talk Pirates, because it is what it is. He's not going anywhere
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's been offered chances to sell. I think most famously Mark Cuban, and Mark Cuban came out of the talks saying that the team's not for sale. He is planning on giving it to his daughters whenever he passes away, or I mean, I guess you don't retire from ownership, so I guess it'll
yeah,
have to be passed.
yeah, yeah,
Which is going to be a long while. I'm not trying to.
yeah.
I know some people
No,
may
yeah,
try
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
put
No, I hear you.
put him in a grave, but that's not me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that to the guy. But
yeah.
as we sit here, first game of spring training is Saturday, and then
Okay.
the season opens at the end of March. It should be enjoyable, honestly.
Yeah,
With all
yeah,
the talk that's going on, there is a shot that this team can surprise some people. The division's up for grabs. Obviously, there's
yeah,
also the shot that the team falls through. They still need another starting pitcher. It's been a saga that's going on all season, but right now we got through this article. Anyone that wants to check it out, it's on the Athletic, which is behind a paywall. But it's a long article. I thought it was really interesting. You, Lee,
yeah.
you're not someone who's been familiar with the Pirates much. You read it and you thought it was a good article, right?
Oh yeah, I thought it was really good. Yeah, it's right there at the bottom where it's scrolling down if you want to check it out. I thought it was a really good article. I wasn't too big into the Pirates. I mean, I've watched the games, but I think now after reading that article, I think I'm going to be invested because, I'm from Pittsburgh. I enjoy my sports teams and I want to talk about them, and hopefully with us spreading our word that maybe somebody will hear it and something can change, hopefully. But yeah, I think I'm invested now in the Pirates after reading that
Uh-huh.
article for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's wrap up the Bucko talk and let's talk a little more Steelers. I feel like it's time to clear up some of the offensive staffing changes that we've seen.
Yeah.
We've gone through for the last couple weeks or so. So I'll just start off by talking about what we do all know. I'm pretty sure we've covered this already. Is Arthur
Yeah.
Smith is the new offensive coordinator. 41 years old. We asked for a young guy. 41 is pretty young. Former coach of the Atlanta Falcons, where he was 21 and 23. Tennessee offensive coordinator from 2019 to 2020, where he had a lot of success, especially in the run game. He made Tannehill have some pretty good seasons too in the passing game. So that's what we have here. Arthur Smith, any parting shots maybe we haven't talked about before we move on from Arthur Smith?
No, just hopefully he gives us a good offensive playbook and an offensive scheme this season, the new season coming up in the fall. Hopefully, we can do a little bit better than what happened this past season. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
So with Arthur Smith, we have a new quarterback coach, Tom Arth. He spent the last 2 seasons with the Chargers, where he was their passing game coordinator. During that time, they had the 5th ranked pass offense at 251.2 points or yards per game, and he was the 11th total offensive with 344.3 yards per game. So I mean, before that, he was also the University of Akron head coach. That's good experience, I think, especially for a quarterback position, because you think as a passing game coordinator, the next step is going to be as a actual offensive coordinator, but he came here to become a QB coach in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that he can help improve with the passing, because over the past few years, the passing really hasn't been there. We've definitely been down, like at the end of the league, last of the league with passing yards per game. Hopefully, he can help improve whoever the quarterbacks are that we have in our rotation. Whoever's going to be our starting quarterback. I mean, it seems like he has a pretty decent resume. He looks like a young guy, so hopefully he can bring in some little bit of schemes with the passing and that. So hopefully he can help out with that as well. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, whether it's Kenny or someone else that they bring in, it'll be nice to have a fresh face to give some insight.
Yeah.
He's got to work with Herbert over the last 2 seasons, which is he's a great quarterback. So be nice to see what he does there. So the next new name that we got coming in is Zach Azzanni. He's a wide receivers coach. He's been a wide receivers coach for the last 6 years also. Last year with the Jets. And then he spent 2018 to 2022 with the Broncos. And then previously that was the Chicago Bears. Another guy who is a fresh face. I think we talked about wanting to have new voices in that offensive side of the ball. The defense too. Sadly, defense hasn't had too many new names come in. But I mean, experienced coach. I don't know. I don't think any of us are going to know too much about these position coaches to give
Yeah.
firm, like detailed opinions on the guys. But another new guy. What are you thinking on him?
Yeah, I mean, just I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad that Tomlin and the organization has gone outside of the organization to bring in some new faces. Hopefully, they can help with the wide receivers that we have. I know that we talked about a couple weeks ago, Allen Robinson being let go from the team. I've seen some rumors about maybe Deontay Johnson might not being there. Just to kind of depending on who wide receivers are there. I'm just hoping that he can help instill some discipline and maybe help bring in a veteran wide receiver if we get the chance, and just to kind of help with that, because like again, the passing just hasn't been that great. There hasn't been that great with the route running, so hopefully he can help with some of the wide receivers that we do have on the team come next season.
Yeah. So now we got a couple names that are back next year. Starting with Faulkner. Eddie Faulkner is coming back as a running backs coach. Post Canada 2023, he was our interim OC. Before that, he was the running backs coach of the Steelers from 2019 to 24. He's gone back there now. And prior to that, I put it on air. Yeah, he was at NC State College for from 2013 to 2018. I mean, he's a guy there. He gives continuity. I don't think he should lose his job the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think he was fine as an offensive coordinator with what he was given in the situation. And going back to running back coach, I have no problem with that. The fact that he's willing to take that step back, I think it says something to him about him. He's not like a guy who's going to get bitter because he didn't get the job. He seems like he wants to be a Steeler coach. So I got no problem with him coming back.
Yeah, me neither. I think he did a good job with Najee and Jaylen Warren. I mean, again, two decent backs that we had, both of them having, I think it was 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and both of them almost having 1,000 yards from rushing. I know Najee did almost with Jaylen Warren too. So I think he's done a great job with the running backs, and I think that it'd be good to see him come back next season.
Yep, and then another guy coming back, Mike Sullivan. Another guy who's going in a different role than where he ended the last season. So at Post Canada 2023, he was the play caller. And then during that same time, from 2021 to 2023, he was a QB coach. I think he went on some interviews for offensive coordinator positions. Obviously, he didn't get any. He's coming back as a senior offensive assistant. Similar to Faulkner, I mean, he wanted to come back, and Tomlin wants him back. And I think I have no issue with that.
Yeah, I have no issue with that either. I think post Canada, the playbook did seem to open up a little bit better from what we've seen with a lot of the plays with the offense. It'll be great to see him come back and help assist with Arthur Smith and see what they can kind of scheme up for the offense. So, it'd be good to see him come back as well.
Yeah, I think it will be good to have Faulkner and Sullivan in there with Smith in a way that I don't think that their egos can get in the way too much with the positions and how they're mixed up, and but it will allow hopefully a seamless transition to whatever Arthur Smith wants to do this year.
For sure.
And then just finished off with another addition. Just didn't want to leave him out. Mateo Camboy. I know that's got to be the wrong pronunciation of his last name, but he's been hired as an offensive assistant. Last year he was with the offensive line assistant with the Atlanta Falcons, and then prior to that he was with the Broncos for 2 years. He was a Marlon Briscoe diversity coaching fellow. I didn't know much about Marlon Briscoe, but I looked it up, and he was the first black starting quarterback of the Super Bowl era. So that was probably a cool program for him. He probably was coming right out of school, I would assume, if he's a fellowship. So, hey, a young name. Maybe he has some kind of ties, offensive line assistant here. Maybe he's going to be able to help, like with the blocking scheme. I'm sure there's going to be a blocking scheme change, at least somewhat, with Arthur Smith coming in. So maybe he can help clean that up and make sure it goes smoothly.
Yeah, again, excited to see another fresh face coming into the organization to help with the offense. Hopefully, he can help with the offensive line and with the blocking and things like that. I know that we'll probably be picking up some players and maybe in the draft as well for the line coming in. And maybe the scheme will be changed with that. But again, I'm just happy that they have brought in some new faces from outside of the organization to kind of help with the offense. again, yeah, we haven't seen much with the defensive side, but maybe that'll still come along the line. Who knows? But again, just happy to see that the Steelers are bringing some other players in to kind of help with a different offensive scheme for next season. So I'm excited to see how it's going to go.
Yeah, same here. Free agency is right around the corner. Hoping we can get together and make a nice video just on free agency to help
Yeah.
inform some people, and I hope us to be informed too. I know
Yeah.
just doing a little bit of initial research, it was nice to get to know who's out there and look into some of the needs the Steelers have. So we have that on the agenda for the next couple weeks, and then Pirates baseball is going to be heating up, so we're going to get into that, and then it should be fun to watch how this season goes, see how the effects of the story that came out this week. It's scrolling at the bottom once again. If I'm not an idiot and forget, I'll try to send a link into the description of the YouTube video also. But other than that, Lee, I'm all good for this week. See you next week.
Yeah. See you next week. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
You too. I'll see you.
Yep.